Welcome back to the STB as in Bobby. We have a guest in the house. He's not on the podcast, but he's here. So we just decided his name starts with a B. We're going to use Bobby today. So again, I have my friend Corben with us on this week's episode. This one is not me telling him I was a stripper for 4 years because he already knows that now. But this one is about one of the nights that I have. We're bringing it back to 2019. So as you guys know, every single week, I basically will pull up in order, almost always, one of the nights that I worked, because for the 4 years that I was dancing, nobody knew. Like, I kept it to myself. Only 2 people knew. And my parents didn't know. My closest friends didn't know. And the way that I would vent about the crazy nights that I would have, the money-making nights or the no money-making nights, is I would sit down home, most of the time drunk, and I would type up how much I made that night. I'd put the date, and then I would talk about the night. And I started putting the money that I made later on, I think like 2020. So right now in 2019, it's not showing me how much I made that night. I usually put it at the top, but sometimes within like the document, I'll put like an ideal number. But either way, Corben is here to listen. And he's here for a good episode because this one's fucking weird. Like this one, I will never forget this night. Oh my God, it was so fucking,
already, so
it's fucking embarrassing, dude. So we're bringing it back to May 4th of 2019. This is how it went. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Okay. Tonight, I really let my emotions get the best of me. I ended up crying in the bathroom for a good 10 minutes. And now that I look back at it, it was really fucking dumb and kind of funny. But in the moment, it was the most irritating thing in the world. So I'm having an all right night. Money's flowing, you know, and there's a couple of drunk people trying to talk shit and push my limits, the regular. Like, people that are drunk as fuck, they just say stupid shit. And it irritates me, especially if I haven't made any money that night. I'm like, I can't just let it slide. That's another reason why I had to bite my tongue a lot, because these people,
they're gonna try you.
They're definitely gonna try you. Anyways, I decided to chill for a second by the bar and just watch the crowd, which is usually not like me. I'm always moving, but at that point I was just like, I need to fucking chill. So it's funny because in that moment when I was at the bar, I thought to myself, I wonder how cool it would be if someone just tapped me on the shoulder right now and asked me for a dance. In Vegas, I mean, in other clubs I've worked in other cities, and people will come up, you know, if there's not that many girls there. But in Las Vegas, there's hundreds of girls on the floor every night. Guys do not approach you. It's almost like an anomaly if a guy comes up to you directly and is like, I want you. He must have a very specific look or like something that his girlfriend wants, or I don't know, whatever. But like in the Vegas clubs, you always like go and you have to talk to them. So then out of nowhere, this guy taps me on the shoulder, and what he said next blew my mind. So he said, hey, I know this might be a super weird question, but would you ever let a guy with a foot fetish eat your feet? Weirdest question I've ever got.
He asked to eat your feet.
He said, hey, I know this might be a super weird question, but would you ever let a guy with a foot fetish eat your feet?
So he ready to get a foot fetish, eat, and then get a lap dance in the VIP?
He didn't want a lap dance.
So he want to eat your feet?
He just want to eat my feet.
So he's going to pay eat your feet?
Yes. I've had guys that like feet, but I've never had someone like want to eat my feet. Like, not like
fucking.
Bring
the hot sauce? Give some flavor.
Bruh, I was like, no fucking way. Like, and I'm like, my feet, fuck it. Like, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm gonna lick my toes. Like, all right, it just might tickle a little bit.
You know, hopefully they were clean that night.
I'm like, that's definitely that's not the normal question I get when people want to eat something.
I never heard that in the strip club, so that's...
So I was like, hell yeah. I would rather have a guy lick my feet than me grind on him for 30 to 60 minutes.
Shoot, that's a win-win.
Yeah, so I was like, so I told him, I was basically like, I have to go to a back room. Like, I'm not about to let you do this shit for $20 on the floor. Like, we're going to like a 30-minute, 60-minute room. In the 30-minute rooms in this club, there was no curtain. So it was kind of like a couch, and like if there was other people in the room, they can kind of see you if they look at you. And that was my first mistake, not making him do an hour, or at least not making him do a 30-minute and like a curtain. And I wouldn't get in trouble for this. It's fucking feet. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, at least I don't think I'd get in trouble, right?
I don't know.
So I take him to the back for like 30 minutes. I'm like, okay, let's do a 30-minute room. And at the time, this club, they let you choose your own price now. Like, you can charge whatever you want for any amount of time.
Oh, really?
But before, for 30 minutes, I want to say you could only charge $300. But now people charge like $500, $600. Gotcha. But back then it was only $300. And I take him to the back. He pays me a few hundred, and boom, I'm rubbing my feet in his face. my toes, like these are my toes, right? I'm like, towards the face. I'm like.
Did you put the big toe on
I'm like, this is so fucking awkward. So literally, I said, oh my God, this shit is so fucking weird. Like, this is not. And then when he started licking them, I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this.
The big toe?
He definitely was licking all the toes, okay? Like, he was like.
Did it tickle?
Yes, it tickled and it was weird as fuck. And even the fact that it was ticklish, like, I just was like so weirded out that I wasn't even ticklish. Huh?
Would you ever do it again?
No. Maybe. If I was extremely fucking drunk, like drunk, and this guy had paid me a couple $1,000 for an hour in a private room, maybe.
Or if they like massage your feet at the same time. Like,
ooh, yeah, massage. I'll let him pay me to massage my feet. Yeah. But so I said, mind you, there's still other guys getting dances and girls around us. Like I said, like it's like an open area. So they could easily look over and be like, what the fuck is happening over there? Like and I know people saw. I was like,
that's what I was thinking.
I shouldn't have gave a fuck, but I did. And I was like, 30 minutes of this shit?
Like, get her foot stuck over in the corner.
I'm like, it's only 30 seconds in, and it's like, fuck. Like, we're only 30 seconds in, and this guy, like...
Shit, he was going swoop to the feet.
Period. And I was like, I came to the conclusion that I couldn't deal with this in front of people. So I tell him I'd rather go to a private room for an hour so people can't see us. So I was like, hey, like, I can't do this. Like, this is in front of everyone. I'd rather just do a private room. Well, he agrees. So when we go to the front to secure the hour, he realizes that he'd have to buy a bottle of champagne. Because in all the hours, you can't buy, like, a regular bottle. You can't just do drinks. You have to buy a bottle of champagne,
which is... buy a bottle on top of paying for the room?
Yeah. So he double? Would... Yeah. But double, right? So he's like, because in every room, even like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, there's a drink minimum. So in 15 minutes, you got to buy 2 drinks. Half an hour, you got to buy 4 drinks. Hour, you got to buy a bottle.
I never heard that before.
In Vegas, that's how they do it. And even now, I feel like most places, there's a drink minimum. In Texas, there was a drink minimum. Vegas, there's always a drink minimum. Yeah. That's how the clubs make their money, right? Like in California, if it's an hour, there is a drink minimum, but for anything less, there isn't. The only thing is, California now, they have this like law where independent contractors like myself, the dancers, they have to be employees now. And they made that change in 2019 when I was working there. And that's one of the main reasons why I left, as well as like the fact that Vegas was better.
New strip clubs and topless.
Huh?
I think what it is because I go to more new strip clubs and topless.
Yeah, that's why. Okay.
You know, we don't. Everything is new. You know, you go to Reno, most of them are new.
The new one, in off of Richards, that one is topless.
Oh, HD.
And they have there's alcohol.
Man, I hate that one, bro.
I like topless clubs. I mean, I don't mind going to a new club, but I need some alcohol. I need the alcohol flowing.
Most definitely. No, it's lit when you got that liquor in you.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know how I could do shit. I mean, I would go into work sober.
Yeah, no, topless.
Like I told myself, if I can't go in and work sober, I was very tempted to drink a little bit of alcohol before my first ever time auditioning, and I was like, no, if I can't do this shit sober, I can't do it. I'm like, I need to be able to do it sober.
Right there.
But I ended up drinking a lot anyway. So I not before, but like as I danced, like that shit was fun, and we get free alcohol. I'm like, I'm gonna get a little buzz going, and alcohol helped me for the most part. At least I feel like it gave me like an edge.
No, most
but towards the end, because I was working all the time, like the last few months, I was like, this is literally the last time I'm ever going to work in the club. Like, I'm going to try to make it as meaningful as possible. Like, I'm going to work as much as I can. Like I said, I really wanted to leave on top. I wanted to have the best month I ever had, best year, all that good stuff. So I was like, if I'm going to be working on a very consistent basis, more than I ever have before, I can't be drinking heavily. Like, I need to, like, limit myself. And I would go into work sober. I would, like, go into work and only have, like, 1 drink, wouldn't feel shit. So I would just chill, And I'm like, I can still do that. That's not an issue. But it's, like, the fact that I can drink, I probably will.
Of course, I'll be getting tipsy all night in that mug.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I quit, too. I was like, this shit is not good for my health. I can't do this for years and years. Can't do this till I'm 30.
Yeah,
like,
no, you definitely can't.
5 more years of just straight alcohol, like, every year, every week.
Yeah.
That's bad.
That is.
I would go into my checkups, and they'd be like, when they ask you, like, so how many drinks do you think you have on average a week? I'd be like, 3. And that's usually like what I have to start my night. Like it's bad, And I'm like, I'm not gonna what am I gonna tell them? They're gonna put me in AA or some shit. So Anyway, let's get back to the story. So I came to the conclusion we need to go to a private room. So he agrees. And then he didn't want to buy the champagne bottle. So I say, we can just go finish the half an hour. But then after that, he no longer wants anything to do with me.
Oh,
for whatever reason. He feels like I put him around the ringer. Like I wasn't being like straightforward. And I'm just like, I'm like, fuck it. I'm like, fuck it. Fine. Again, I had already been paid for half an hour, and our time was up at that point. So like the 30 minutes had already passed during the time that we had started, and then going through that whole process, and then them saying like you need to buy a bottle, and then the time was up. So he walks out, and as I follow, I see him complaining to management that he wants a refund.
Damn.
Yeah, fucking little bitch. So I was like, sorry, buddy, you fucked up. Not happening.
Right.
So then security comes up, and he tries to tell them that I was completely in the wrong and money hungry, blah, blah, fucking blah, right? What? Yeah, I literally start laughing because he didn't even mention to security that the reason he wanted to go back there was to lick my goddamn feet. Okay, literally. I'm like, this is how I said it. So security's standing right here. He's standing right here. I'm right here. I'm like, did he tell you the real reason why he wanted to take me back there? Did he tell you what he was trying to do to me? And the way that it came off was so bad. Yeah. It was so bad. But hold on, I told them the truth, okay? Because all I can see, and it's not management, it's security. They're looking at me like, what? Like, they're like, what? And I'm just like, I don't want to embarrass him, but he wasn't giving all the sides of the story. So when security asked me for my side, I look at the guy and I say, I'm going to tell them what you asked of me. I look at the guy and I'm like, I'm going to tell them what you asked. You could only imagine the nasty assumptions security is thinking of in that moment, right?
I'm thinking the same, like, what you did?
So I go on and tell them about his feet infatuation and the truth about what happened. So I'm like, he wanted to lick the fuck out of my feet. Like, he was just trying to go in there, eat my feet, lick my toes. I just didn't feel comfortable, you know? And they're like, what the fuck? Like, they're just like, what the hell is going on right now? So, now you're probably wondering, well, why did you end up crying in the bathroom, right? Because that's how the story started. I was crying in the bathroom. By the end of him arguing with security, they basically told me to give him half of his money back. So, and it's fucked up too, because the way that I even told him about like the feet thing, I wasn't even tell security really, but like he was like, yeah, before we even started the room, she was already wasting time. She said she had to go to the bathroom to like clean up. And I'm just like, you make it sound like I was in there cleaning my pussy or something. Know, like, bruh, you got me fucked up. Like, you make me look like a slut. Like, so I was like, no. The only reason I went in the bathroom was to make sure my feet were clean because he wanted to lick them. I'm like, I had already been on my feet for like 3-4 hours. I'm like, at least want to respect the guy's mouth. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm giving you my fucking toes over here, bro. I'm like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. So then security is like, okay, give him half his money back. And thank God security was there, because if management was there, management would be like, why the fuck did this even happen? And they wouldn't be as forgiving. Like, they may not fire me, but they would just be like, get the fuck, like, go home.
You're not
like,
supposed to be doing that.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I'm like, it's just some feet, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. Anyway. That sounds bad, like, right? Isn't it? I don't even want to talk about it.
I was just off, like, oh, you want to suck your toe?
He was like, you need to give him half his money back. And I was like, do I have to? And they said at the end of the day, I operate my own business. I'm an independent contractor, and I shouldn't feel obligated to do jack shit. Right. So I was like, I thought that sentence was going to say, you should feel obligated to do good business. I'm like, no, my shit says I shouldn't feel obligated to do anything. I shouldn't feel obligated. Services rendered. Time is up, my guy. Like,
shoot,
but
get my toes up.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't want to have a bad standing with the club and possibly lose my contract. So I told you I got fired from this club. This was the first club I ever worked at in Vegas. This was in like October when I got fired. So this is 5 months before. Now this is like my 3rd month working in the club, because I moved to Vegas in February and this is May. So I'd only been there for like 3 months. So like 90 days. I'm brand fucking new. Get fired 5 months later, which is another story. But I gave him half of it back, and he looks at me and he says, I hope you enjoy the money.
Hope you enjoy the money.
And I'm just like, I didn't feel bad at all, not one bit, because of the simple fact that I didn't lie to him, mislead him, or do anything to intentionally provide a bad experience. Like, and I would have like let him finish the time. Like, I even suggested, I was like, okay, like, let's go finish the 30 minutes, like, whatever. And he wanted to be a little fucking crybaby. So I'm just like, all right, well then.
If you would have still took him in that room in the first place.
It what?
Try to get his money back and say that he was wasting his time. But what if that was objective the whole time?
Oh, that would have been fucked up.
All right. Well, think about it. Because why he do it if it wasn't ejected, he wouldn't have said it in the first place. So he already had in the back of his mind that's what he's gonna do.
Yeah, it's fucked up, right?
Yeah.
Well, he got a little discount. He locked a couple. Locked. I'm talking about the lock. He licked a couple toes. He licked the toes. Okay, he got a good licky lick. So I'm like, all right. So, but what pissed me off the most is that I had to come out of pocket for a decision he made himself. I had to look bad in front of management and security. I had to fuck up my bag because of a foot fetish fuckboy. Per word. Anyways, I went to the bathroom and let out my emotions. You see how emotional I got over that? Like, that's kind of fucking ridiculous, right? Like, usually you just kind of brush it off and you're like, whatever. Yeah. But back in 2019, because I had never touched that much money before, just in general, I was so greedy. So selfish. I never wanted to work with other girls. If there was other girls in a private room with me, I would do whatever I could to take control of the situation. If there was a main girl, I would somehow try to become the main girl so that way I can influence the customer to let all the other girls go and just be with me. Because of that's literally how I operated. It was so sick in a sense. I just was so selfish, greedy. I didn't want to split my money with nobody. Yeah. I didn't want to work with management. I didn't want anyone to put me on. I wanted to do it all myself because I didn't like giving my money away. Damn near. But after having more experiences and being in the club on a consistent basis and actually growing relationships, because for the first year, when I was in Vegas, I didn't go out. People would come to Vegas all the time. If I lived in Vegas, right? So people would come out every weekend. Rachel, I'm in Vegas. I know you live out here. Let's go do something. No, I didn't want to get caught up in the industry. I didn't want to get caught up in the life. I didn't want anyone to know what I did. I just went to work, went home, went to work, went home. That's all I was about was my bag. So I didn't want to build relationships in the club. I didn't want to build relationships with people because I didn't see myself staying that long. I just saw it as a means to an end, right? So after I actually started to kind of loosen up a little bit after living in Dallas in 2020, then moving back to Vegas in 2021, I decided, okay, let me see how I can do with enjoying things and being more open. And actually started building great relationships and realized and got to learn some things from other girls in management and hosts that I actually became cool with. And they were able to help influence me to do better in a sense of working with other people. And the more I started kind of giving away my tip, tipping people the right way and also bringing other girls in on money, my fucking shit doubled crazy. And I worked almost the same amount of time, maybe just a little bit more, but it was exponential.
It's that saying, you can't make money by yourself. There's always someone else you need to help to make the money.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that's why I let it get the best of me, because I was fucking pissed. But I said, oh, let's see. Anyways, I went to the bathroom and let out my emotions. I ended up counting my money on the toilet because if I was sitting on the toilet just counting my money. I'm if I had reached my financial goal for that night, I would have scooted the fuck out of there. So if I would have whatever my goal was, it doesn't say, but it says, guess what? I was $3 away. Seriously, laugh my ass off. Why do the stripper gods gotta do me like that? So I wiped off my tears.
The stripper gods.
Bro, I'm the stripper gods blessed me. These stripper gods, I got my job back. Whenever I have something good happen or bad happen in the strip club, I'm it's just the stripper gods, You're you're so corny, bro. I'm I don't give a fuck. I end up counting whatever the money that I wanted to make. Maybe it'll say later in this document. But basically, I was $3 away. So I said, I'm going to wipe off my tears, go out there, and try to make the rest of my $3, which is going to be all I got to do is go on fucking stage. I'm I go in with the goal.
That's
whatever
easy,
the goal was.
You probably made $100.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you. So I said, then I went onto the floor and got a little over 100 during a conversation with another customer. So I just went, talked to somebody, and then got a little over 100. Exactly. So on nights like that, especially a busy Saturday, you always want to capitalize on your money goals with all the pockets in the club. And Saturdays and Fridays, especially when I went back to Vegas and got rehired at this club, a lot of girls stopped liking Fridays and Saturdays because there's so many girls. There's 400 girls on the floor, right? It's a huge club, though.
Competition.
Yeah, and it's you really don't know where to go. You don't know where the money is because there's so many groups coming in at once. You can't tell. There's bachelor parties here, business parties here, individuals here, couples there. You don't know who has the money. You can go and look at the bottles that they order, but if it's a group of 10, who's got the fucking money? You don't know. Maybe all of them do, but maybe they don't. Most of the time when someone gets a table, it's one person paying for that entire table. Maybe some of them split it. here in like bachelor parties, but when it comes to like business professionals and shit, there's one money man, maybe two in that group. So in Fridays and Saturdays, people just probably feel overwhelmed. But back in those days, Fridays and Saturdays were like the best, for sure. So if situations happen where you know you can't be your best any longer, you got to cut it short and leave that place. Remember, your anger or disappointment can show, and if you have a short fuse because of their situations, it'll be hard to keep up the energy. And that's what I've noticed. And back when I was writing these, I would put little like pieces of advice, more so for myself, just to be able to remember, like when I have a situation like that, if I can't get over it in like an instant and I can't move on to the next thing, if someone else pisses me off, that's when I'm gonna like blow up, and then I'm really gonna get in trouble. You know what I mean? So it's like with shit like that, I'm like, okay, $3 away, let me go fucking hit my goal. I'm not about to go home. Like, yeah,
$3.
Yeah,
I'm about to take that three to make it 300.
Yeah, so I mean, something like that. That night was fucking funny. Like, now that I look back, I'm like, I never did that again, obviously.
That story is an interesting story. It's an interesting night.
I know, right?
Crime, getting the feet sucked, make $3, praying to the stripper gods.
Literally.
This 300.
I'm like, holy fuck, dude. Like, that was one of the funny stories for sure.
That was funny.
I never let anyone lick those toes again. Or I never went with anyone to a room that had the intention of only licking my toes. But if someone wanted to go to the room, just to go to like the private room, and then we end up staying in there for like 5 hours, and then they get a little lick of the toe, I don't think anyone ever did that. I don't remember. I think I would remember that because I'm so traumatized by that shit. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that fucking guy. I even remember what he looks like. Yeah. But I'll never forget his ass. Either way.
Toe
it is.
Snake.
And now everyone's talking about Feet Finder and shit. Like, these girls are supposed to be making hella money just by showing off their toes. Right?
Some people love toes.
Are you a toe guy?
No.
You got like a foot fetish?
No, I don't got a foot fetish.
Have you ever met a girl that had a foot fetish?
No, never.
Never? What's the weirdest thing a girl has ever asked you to do?
Oh, man.
What's like have you ever come across a girl with any fetish at all?
I mean, eating ass, I guess. Yeah.
Have you let a girl eat your ass?
No.
Corbin, don't fucking lie.
No.
Don't lie, Corbin.
Nah, never. I'll never do that. No. That is not.
I've never had anyone ask me to eat their ass.
That's not the business.
Like a guy that I'm fucking with. Like, never.
Some girls like eating ass. I don't know.
I don't know why. I feel like it's going to be hairy.
I think for them it's more of a dominance thing.
You know what's funny? I was out, one of my friends graduated college a few years ago, and we all went to Joshua Tree, and we got like an Airbnb, and we were all sitting around like kind of catching up, and one of the friends was in a relationship at the time, and I think one of the other girls was in a relationship, and they were kind of talking about like new things that they want to try with their boyfriend, and one of my friends was like, I really want to like peg him. I'm like, what does peg mean? Like, what are you talking about? She's like, yeah. She's like, I want to get a dildo and fuck him from the ass with it. Like, she's like, I think it's just like the dominance thing. Like, she just wants to feel. Yeah. Right? Yeah, I'm like, that's.
What girls like playing the guys' asses. I don't know.
That is weird as hell. The weirdest thing I ever had a guy that I was fucking with ask me to do is like rub his nipples while we're fucking. I'm like, I'm not doing that shit. But I literally looked at him, like he was doing it while we were fucking. He literally looked at me, asked me to do it, and I was about to go touch it. I was like, no. I started laughing. I was like, bruh, get off me. Like, I can't do this. Dead ass. I'm like, that's fucking, like, I'm not even, like, I'm not going to say I'm against it, but it's like this random guy, like, not random, a guy that I had been fucking with, but not on, like, a level where I trust you, like, to do, like, different things. Like, this is, like, very new. We had only had sex a couple times. I'm like, bro, stop being a fucking weirdo. You're ruining this right now. I'm not even horny anymore. Like, let's cut it short.
Like, what little bitty nipples, like.
I was like, And one of my friends, she's so funny. She was fucking with this guy who's bigger. Like he was older and he had like a big belly. And she was like, I love when we have sex because his belly like just hangs over. And
what?
And then she was like, I love sucking his nipples. I know he loves that. I'm like, and this girl's freaky as fuck.
Damn.
And she's young. Like she's younger. She was a lot younger than him. And I was just like, I don't know how you do that shit, dude. Like, I would need to be on, like, drugs or something, and I'm obviously not going to do that, but I'm like, I would have to be, like, out of my right mind, dead ass.
What's the first thing you would do?
Oh, I'm even thinking about someone that I'm closest with, like someone that I trust, like an ex, that I would trust to do like things with, and I wouldn't even do that shit to him. I'm like, I just look at him different. I'd just be like, this will never work out again.
Man.
But yeah, people have some weird fucking fetishes for sure.
No, they do.
And the private entertainment company that I started back in 2020, I get calls, like we do marketing for it in Vegas, and I get calls all the time. I record all the calls, and these people are into some shit. I get emails like, me and my girlfriend were looking for this, and the other thing, and they're like wanting the weirdest shit. And I'm just like, we don't do sexual favors. It's on the fucking website. Like, we don't do that shit. Like, it's very clear. And this one guy, he was on the phone with me. He's like, yeah, so we're gonna have the girls gonna do this, and that, right? I'm like, absolutely not. I'm like, that's not happening. And he's like, oh, okay, we'll still bring her anyway. I was like, all right, 50% up front, you know? But we have security and all that shit. And like the girls know these are very like high end like dancers, you know? Like girls that are very good looking. But
Gotta have them.
and the girls in Vegas, like they're just built different in a sense where they don't want $200 to show up. They want 2 bands.
No, they do.
And that's half. And then they want the other half in like an hour. And then they want a tip on top of it. And it doesn't stop.
Yeah, they ain't playing.
But at least you know that these aren't the girls that are going to rob you. You know what I mean? Like you get high-end girls, they'll give you a price up front. They won't deceive you. They'll tell you exactly what they want. If you give it to them, great. If you don't, they're not going to come. But if they do come, you can feel at ease knowing that you're not going to get drugged. Yeah. You're not going to have shit like gone when you wake up in the morning.
Wake up with somebody pregnant.
Shit. Yeah, you know, like it's very professional. We're gonna keep it classy here, you know.
Do you know a story of that? The way you paused on that?
A girl that got pregnant?
I don't know.
I have a friend that, and I fucking love this girl, but me and her were talking, and she rarely worked. Like when I would be in the club, and I'm like, "What are you doing here? Like, why are you working right now?" She's like, "Oh, my man's out of town." Like, blah blah. Like, and I was like, "Oh, so like, what's up with you and him?" And he's older, and she was just like, "Yeah." He's my ticket out. Oh, shit. He's older, right? He's like really successful, like millionaire, whatever. And she was like, he's my ticket out. He's older. He's been divorced. She's younger. She's like my age, maybe a little bit older. She's like 26 maybe. And she was like, yeah, we've been together for a while. At first he was just a trick, you know, just getting money off of him. But now I actually like have grown feelings for him. Like he's my ticket out. She's like, I was like, are you guys engaged? She's like, yeah, we already got a ring. We're starting the prenup right now. Basically, she gets paid a certain amount for 7 years. And then after the 7th year, if they're still together, her amount goes up. Damn. I'm like, you fucking thought about this shit. Right. She's like, yeah. She's like, I wasn't born to work. Damn. I was like, fuck it. Damn. I'm like, fuck it. She's honest. And and he knows that. Yeah. She told him, I want this much. After 7 years, I want this much. And see, the thing is, I've noticed
why 7 years? Why she gives?
I don't know, because like the average of like people getting divorced, I guess is like 7 years or some shit. Oh. So if they stay together that long, she gets more. And I thought it would go down. Like, oh, you guys are really in love. You know, you're not going to get as much. Right. No, shit goes up. But yeah, that's like how the prenup goes. But the thing is, like these older guys that come into the club that are either divorced or like they know how the game goes and they like strippers, they like dancers as long as they're good girls, like how she is. She knows her role. She plays her part. She doesn't fucking nag them. She doesn't try to like tell them what to do. Like these guys that have wives that they don't have good relationships with anymore, they're just kind of like just waiting for the kids to get older so they can divorce. They want that shit. And I've had somebody that wanted that same shit with me, but was still married or whatever. And like, I've come across them and I never thought that I would ever have that situation because I'm like, this isn't real. Like, guys don't do that. Like, guys don't just give away money like that. You know what I mean? Like, you got to work for it. You got to earn it. No, guys, you got to get them in the back, you know? Yeah. But no, this guy was like just throwing money at whatever.
They got so much money and they just want time and attention.
Yeah.
You know,
like,
people want attention, so the way they get it, you got to pay for it.
Yeah, you play your role. You do what you're supposed to do. You don't bother them with shit. You just are like fun to be around. That's all they want. They just want someone that's a good time.
To take their mind off the busy work they're going through.
Mm-hmm. So when she told me that, I was like, fucking salute. Like, good for you. Like, everyone's got their thing, you know? And she was honest and upfront about it, and I respect that. And she's
female got it made.
She's cute. Right?
Right. She signed me with a prenup 7 years.
I'm like, that's smart as fuck.
Smart. She has a business.
Yeah. I'm like, she really thought about her future. Right. See, that's the one with a plan right there.
Right. She was cock salute.
Man, exactly.
I wish. I'm jealous now.
Yeah, I know, right? I need to check on her. But yeah, she barely ever works. She's like, I don't even like working. She's like, I need to take a shot before I even come into work or something. I don't remember what she said, but she was like, I get anxiety coming into work. I'm like, really?
Is she still with him to this day, you think?
Yeah, she's still with him. I have her on Instagram. They're still together.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, she's out here living her life, you know?
I bet. Shoot, 7 years
Yeah.
getting paid, ain't got to do nothing. Shoot.
Yeah, so.
Man.
And I don't think she's been to the club at all.
American dream, y'all.
Period. Anyway, but that's it for this episode. Whatever you guys do, don't let them lick your feet in the room. It's just not worth it. Or don't go to the room unless you're prepared to get caught, in trouble, or give them half his money back if you can't go through with shit. So, Corben, thank you for your input.
It was always fun.
Absolutely.